the only way he was going to be happy is if it was fucking pitch dark.
Well, right, because even though he was a brilliant and is still a brilliant effects man, he's very modest and also, is hard on. He's his own harshest critic, as we all are about things,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this film is just great cast. And again, we get a lot of Carpenter hallmarks that define his films here, casting and cinematography and truth and all these other great things. And it is a great movie. It is a great film to kick off the 80s because as we talked about last week, 1980 was difficult for horror. And that, quality horror for a lot of people. You had Friday the 13th and The Fog, and then, a couple of other films here and there that would, a lot of people liked. But those were the top, billers of the time were, Fog and Friday the 13th. So I think it was a great way to kick off the 80s without going just so over the top with the gore. And that really impressed me because now when I see a lot of films now, it's like so much of it relies on the effects and the gore and the production and not enough on the story and the characters and the situation. And you don't really have time to feel anything about any of the characters. In The Fog, you feel for these people. You feel for Stevie, and you feel for Andy, and you feel for, Nick, and you have a feeling about everybody. And you feel vested in their characters. And when they get fucked up, that makes it all the harder on you,
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great film.
And then just to let everybody know, if you're a new listener, we got a lot of new Facebook likes, things like that. So if you've never heard one of our rundowns of a show, maybe you've heard our lists or serial killer shows, something like that. If you've not heard our ranking system, it's pretty simple. Blake is a Elm Street guy. I'm a Friday the 13th guy. Vic is a chainsaw guy. So he ranks in chainsaws. 4 is the highest you can go. 4 machetes is the highest I can go, and 4 Freddy gloves is the highest that Blake can go. So simple as that. It's just like a star system, but instead we've chosen our own weapons. So Blake, I'll let you get into your rating now.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Overall, this film was just amazing. Again, I can't say enough about the cinematography. I can't say enough about the production, the story. The soundtrack was amazing. The effects were top of the line for their time. The choice of actors was brilliant. The situation was believable. Even though it was supernatural based, it was believable. You felt vested in the characters. You felt vested in the movie. The horror was conveyed in a very, very powerful way without the use of just obscene amounts of gore. And it's a good length. It's not too long, but it's not too short. I think it was a perfect film for its time. One of them. So I would have to, based on the merits of this film and the reaction it got out of my wife and me, because it was really amazing to see her get to watch the original after seeing the remake first and getting her to see the original and how much more she liked that. So I think based on all the positives I've mentioned and my feelings and then my, background with the horror as in with y'all, you and Vic's background, I would have to give this a good solid 3.5 out of 4 Freddy calls. I would have to give it 3.5 because it's brilliant. And I mean, I think it was a 1-2 punch, man, a combination from hell. You had Friday the 13th and The Fog, and I think those movies were a great way to kick off the horror craze in the 80s, the slasher craze, and just generally good filmmaking.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And here's the thing. John Carpenter did this movie. JC, not Jesus Christ. John Carpenter. And to me, that's even better. But look, Carpenter is just one of those guys that's like, if he put out a movie before the 2000s, maybe you expect quality. And Carpenter he gives you quality, and this is a movie from 1980. It's really one of his first movies, you know, his big follow-up to Halloween. You didn't know what to expect. He's going for a ghost story. He did the movie, then realized, oh shit, it's not scary enough. Had to go back, do some reshoots, you know, add some stuff. But, you know, for the movie we got, here's what I've got here. You've got Tom Atkins. You've got Adrienne Barbeau. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis. You've got fucking Charles Cyphers. You've got Janet Leigh. You've got Hal Holbrook. You got John Houseman. I mean, Nancy Loomis, if I haven't said her name yet. Whoever I might be missing. Buck Flower. As far as horror movies go, especially for 1980, you want to talk about an all-star team of a cast. You want to talk about a fucking horror convention's dream. The Fog 1980 has it, the cast. So you've got the director. You've got the cast. You've got a cool story, and I do think this is a cool story. Does the story have some problems? Absolutely. It's a goofy premise in that, you know, they killed the lepers and stole their gold to build a church, and then they just built a fucking gold cross with it. It doesn't make much sense as far as that goes. And there were some things with the Fog itself that were kind of illogical, I know, but the ghosts look really fucking cool. I like the idea of the lepers, especially when you get to see the fucking maggot face guy. That was sweet. It's, I mean, T.A. was the man in this movie. This movie is not about gore. It wasn't about tits, sadly. It was not about those things. It was a ghost story. And as far as ghost stories go, I mean, it's better than The Changeling. It's better than most ghost stories. I put it probably in the top 10 of ghost stories of all time. One day, maybe we'll figure out what the hell exactly is a ghost story, but I think this applies. And I've been struggling with my rating on this all day. I mean, you'd think based on me having it like number 2 on my top 10 list of 1980 that it should be an easy 4.0. But, you know, watching the movie again, it's slow. There's not, I mean, the atmosphere is what carries this movie. And you would think, I would think, I mean, I've got it over Friday the 13th in the list. And I don't know, if I did the list again, I'm not sure I'd have it over Friday the 13th anymore. But at the same time, I also love it. The music's great. I'm going to give it a 3.75 out of 4. I'm meeting in the middle there. I almost went with a low 4.0. I don't think I can quite go that far. I think 3.75 is where I'll settle here. It's just not quite perfect. You know, it's not up there with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, maybe Nightmare on Elm Street, some of the originals, but it's damn good. And it's definitely one of Carpenter's top 10 movies. I mean, we did a show on it once, and it definitely was in there for me. I just can't quite give it 4. I want to. I just can't. I don't feel like it's quite there yet. But or maybe it's just because it's not my genre, you know, or my subgenre. Maybe that's what it is.
That may be what it is, but that does show what an impact it had on you to still have such a high rating, even though it was not your preferred genre, preferred subgenre of horror. You still gave it a very high rating, and I think that speaks to the quality of the film.
It's kind of like It. Whenever I talked about the remake of It, I didn't give it a 4 out of 4, and I'm not sure what I would change to make it a 4. It's one of those things where it's kind of like porn, Blake. I can't define what porn is. You just kind of know it when you see it. I know a 4 when I see it, and I just felt like this wasn't quite a 4. That's all. And no, I don't watch porn, but I'm just saying I know what porn is. That's all. Or at least not religiously. Not saying I've never seen it. I just don't watch it. Don't need to.
There was an overshare on so many levels, but okay.
Look, that's what we do on this show. That's what I do specifically.
I know.
There's
no. Huh?
I think Vic's dead. I haven't heard from him since he told me he wasn't calling until 10. So I'll just assume Vic's dead in a ditch somewhere.
Well, that's right. So it is 10 there. It's 10 there. It's 10:08 there, and it's 9:08 here. So.
Yeah, he probably fell asleep in his car or something, knowing him. Hopefully it wasn't driving at the time. That'd be good.
Well, let's hope not. Jesus.
I mean, it's Vic we're talking about. You just never know what the fuck he's going to do. He's an animal. A true animal is the film.
Yeah, but we love him the way he is, and would you have him any other way? Hell
no. No. He's just a big, dumb animal. He got mad at me when I told him he was a big dumb animal once. He was like, "Hey, I took an IQ test in school and it was high." I was like, "All right, fuck, sorry, just fucking."
Did he mean he was high when he took it? Is that what he?
He probably was. That's a good point. He was a fucking druggie. But all right, so I tell you what, Blake, this was a fun little show in the fog. And if you guys don't know, any of the trivia, fuck it, go to IMDb. I could rattle it off for you, but why bother? I don't want to waste your time. I gave out some a little bit of trivia along the way here. But yeah, damn good movie. If you have not seen the original and maybe you fucked up and saw the remake like we did, go back, watch the original. And,
absolutely, it's worth it.
Yeah. So Blake, where have your horror adventures taken you lately? And for, again, you people who are maybe new to the show, horror adventures, they take us places. They may take us to a horror convention. They may take us to a fucking prop convention. Or it may be what we're watching. So that's what we watched since we last spoke, which was, I believe, a week ago for the 1980 episode.
Yes, which was amazing. I've been going back and doing some research on some old friends of mine. I watched Wishmaster, the original, and then also watched Jack Shoulder's directorial, installment of that, Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies. And I have to say that I really, really, really loved both of the Wishmasters. The first one,
that's because Andrew Nevoff's awesome.
Oh yeah, and all those cameos in the first one. You got Kane Hodder, you've got Tony Todd, you've got Robert Englund, you've got from Phantasm, Reggie Bannister.
I can't even remember his name.
But he was the pharmacist in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all these great cameos, and then fantastic makeup effects, and great film. I've been watching that, and then the wife and I have been watching The Fog. Obviously, we visited Aliens again, the Aliens franchise, because her Ripley costume is on point, my friend. I'm sure you've seen some of the parts of that on Facebook and her Instagram and stuff. But she and I are going to Days of the Dead this year. We haven't decided if we're going to Indianapolis or the Louisville. I think we're going to go to the Louisville one.
Well, we'll see you there either way.
Absolutely.
If you go to Louisville, then I'll bring you over here sometime and introduce you to the wife and all that.
Well, that would be great. That like I said, I want to be. Vic is an Uncle Vic, and he is totally irresponsible. I think I'm far more responsible than Vic. I deserve to be an Uncle Blake. So I'll bring the kids horror toys, and then how about candy and like Pennywise the Clown? I think I'd make some friends that way, huh?
Isla is a Jack Skellington and Jason girl. Hazel is a Pennywise. I like my Pennywise.
She likes her cheesy poops. Exactly. That's what that reminds me of.
Exactly.
But I love those girls. They're great, and you're pretty awesome too, Travis. But but
I'm okay.
Yeah. Just okay. And Vic is just horrible. I mean,
he's a bum.
But he's a bum. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Watching a lot of old school stuff. Going back and watching. We watched Aliens last night. Finished that up. And just going back and revisiting some classics. I'm awful busy in the horror world with all these books I'm working on. I've just been contracted to do 2 more books with Nick Strawn. So I've got those 2, and then I've got the prop book that I contributed to, the HSPPA. I did a segment in that book for the puppet from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, that Nick Benson, who was also on Travis and Vic's Drunken Horror Adventures, it was the one that he puppeted on Robert, that popped armature wire and stabbed Robert in the neck. So very, very cool to be able to write a piece on that. So, yes, I am all over the place in these books, man. I don't know what's going to happen next, but hopefully some horror conventions where I will be a guest again, because I like going as a visitor, but I really like being on panels and doing the guest thing, because that's so much fun. And I get to meet all these people, all these fans and stuff. So I want to get out and do some more conventions, man. I'm looking forward to it. Days of the Dead, I've never been, but it's supposed to be great. And the wife and I are hoping that Robert is going to be at those, because there's already been some people announced. And I think Heather and the Dream Warriors are going to be doing all those.
Yep. Indy. Yep, hell yeah.
Which we've had a bunch of those on your show. We've had Kincaid, Ken Sagas, we've had Rodney Eastman, Joey, and then we've had our Hayden, who's Will. So we've had all those